Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're sharing a story that is, well, both incredibly personal and universal. It's about a life that was short, yes, but so full of impact that it makes you ask a really big question. What actually makes a legacy last? We're going to step into the world of a young woman named Sana al-Slawadi, through her own diaries and the memories of those who loved her, to uncover just a powerful story about purpose, about faith, and about how one focused life can leave a light that truly endures.
These words, they come directly from Sana's private diary. Her name? Sana, it means light or radiance. And with this one incredibly insightful sentence, she just perfectly captures the question at the heart of her own life. She knew, how fleeting life can feel. She compared her own light to lightning, so brilliant, so powerful, but over in a flash. The question she asked herself is the one we're going to explore together. Can a light that shines for such a short time, can it really last? As we're about to see, her life gives us a pretty powerful answer.
There's this beautiful, almost poetic symmetry to Sana's life that her family holds on to. She was born on the 28th night of Ramadan, a night with huge spiritual weight. And as she came into the world, the sky just opened up and it rained. Then, not quite 16 years later, on the day that she passed away, it rained again. It's almost as if nature itself was marking the beginning and the end of a life that, just like the rain, seemed to arrive to nourish everything around it and to leave behind something that was lasting and life-giving.
So where did this light of hers come from? Well, its source was this unwavering, deeply personal connection with the Qur'an. And for Sana, this was not just some religious book, it was the absolute center of her life. It was a pact, a promise she made to herself and to God that would end up shaping every single part of her world. This right here, this quote, it explains everything about her mindset. See, for Sana, the Qur'an was never about just memorizing words. She wrote that it was a life's journey, a constant companion. She truly believed that to really understand it, you had to live it. The verses had to shape who you were. It had to be written on your heart, not just something you could recite. And that belief is the key to understanding the incredible discipline that she lived by every single day.
Her commitment wasn't just an idea, you could actually see it. What you're looking at is a real page from her notebook. This is her own handwritten summary of a guide on how to memorize the Qur'an. Just look at how neat it is, the structure. This was not some casual hobby for her. She actually studied the how. She did research, she took careful notes, and she built a system for herself. This page is basically the blueprint of her pact, and it shows this almost academic level of focus, applied to a goal that was pure spirit.
So how did she actually do it? Well, it came down to incredible discipline. She found and committed to a formal 2-year memorization plan. This meant a structured daily promise to learn new verses while constantly reviewing the ones she'd already learned. But she knew that memorizing words wasn't enough. So she picked a Qur'an with commentary so she could go deep into the meaning. And she didn't stop there. She attended online lessons on Islamic law, the Prophet's life, linguistics, classic commentaries, the whole shebang. She truly lived with the Qur'an, making it a constant, familiar presence in her life.
And all that dedication, it paid off in a way that is just staggering. In just one single year, which was half the time the plan scheduled for the entire Qur'an, she had already memorized a huge portion of it, all the way from the first chapter to the 9th, Surah At-Tawbah. And that's not even counting the fact she'd already memorized the final 3 sections, or juz, and a bunch of other chapters. That 1 year represents a level of effort and focus that's frankly pretty hard to wrap your head around.
But all of this discipline you see on the outside, it was all being fueled by this incredibly rich and honest inner world. And the most powerful way we can understand Sana's journey is through her private diary, where she was just completely open about her purpose, her struggles, and what she was really aiming for.
In her diary, she asked the kind of questions we all ask ourselves, right? She lists all these worldly goals. Is my dream to travel? Is it money? Is it power? Do I dream of love and marriage? Do I dream of being a successful programmer, an engineer, a translator, a doctor? You can feel her wrestling with her purpose, looking at all the paths that society lays out for us, and trying to find her own true answer.
And after thinking through all those things, this is where she landed. This was, in her words, the best answer. Her ultimate dream wasn't about a title or a salary. It was about a spiritual destination, and this one powerful goal became the compass for her entire life. But she was also so aware of her own humanity. In that same entry, she adds, "Even though I stray and fall, then get up, I straighten up, then I go back, I relapse, then I get up, and so on endlessly." It's just so honest.
Her diary just shows this incredible self-awareness. At one point she wrote, "I'm starting to realize life isn't eternal. It will end. And honestly, I don't want to be the Sana whose life is empty. I'm not guaranteed when I will die." Later, she writes a letter to her past self, trying to explain her change. "I thank God 1,000 times for the guidance I have now compared to you. Do you know how I became steadfast? I realized that one day I would be under the soil. I woke up and I asked myself, what am I doing? A return was necessary and it happened. I have felt the deep meaning of faith and found true security." Her transformation wasn't an accident. It was a conscious choice. And right here, she's thinking about her legacy. It wasn't just about her own salvation. She consciously wanted her life to mean something to other people, to have a positive impact. She really hoped to leave something good behind. And this was tied directly to her relationships. She also wrote, "O Lord, may I not die except that you are pleased with me. God willing, I will become a better daughter, sister, friend, and person." Her spiritual journey and her desire to be good to the people she loved were one and the same.
So that brings us to her final 24 hours. And the way she spent her last day is maybe the most powerful example of how her purpose was just threaded through every single moment of her life. It was a day she lived with the exact same focus that had defined her all along. So on her last Sunday, she got home from school and the first thing she did was review her Qur'an. And it's incredible, whether by fate or divine plan, the section she happened to be reviewing was from Surah Al-Araf, a chapter that describes the people of paradise, her ultimate dream. After that, she helped her mom, she studied for a school exam, she even took the time to encourage her brothers with their own studies and language apps. Then, at 10:20 that night, she wrote out her to-do list for Monday. The next morning, she suffered a sudden, fatal brain hemorrhage. She lived with purpose right up until the very last line she ever wrote.
This is the to-do list she wrote for a day she would never live to see. And look at the perfect balance. You've got her schoolwork, chemistry, writing, English. And you've got her spiritual work, reviewing major chapters of the Qur'an, preparing for a competition, attending lessons. This list is like a perfect snapshot of our life, a disciplined blend of her duties in this world and her goals for the next. She wasn't rejecting the world, she was integrating it. In fact, just a short time before this, she had celebrated getting a perfect grade, writing, praise be to God, my grade is 100%. Yes, I reached my dream." She was preparing for a test in school and for the ultimate test in life, all at the same time.
And so we come back to that question from the very beginning. Sana worried that her light might be like lightning, too bright, too quick, and gone. The final chapter of her story, the one written after she passed, gives us the answer. Her own mother gave the most beautiful answer. In a eulogy for her daughter, she wrote, "You were not just a passerby, but the story that cannot be forgotten, and the light that does not fade." Her mom remembered how Sana dreamed of becoming a great author, writing novels with deep characters. But then she realized the truth. You were the novel itself, the hero whose story doesn't end on the final page. Your chapters did not close. They began where all worldly stories end. The real story began in the presence of the most merciful, where novels are written with light, nodding.
Sana's legacy isn't just a memory. It's a call to action, an invitation. In a message she left behind for her friends, she begged them to complete the path. She told them, "The Qur'an is my life, the love of God is my treasure, and the path to the hereafter is my hope and your hope." She was reminding them to keep going, to keep tending to their faith. Her story became this catalyst, inspiring others not just with a feeling, but with a path they could actually follow. So in the end, Sana's life wasn't measured in the number of years she had. It was measured in depth, and it was measured in impact. The light that she was afraid would be as fleeting as lightning turned out to be more like a beacon, one that keeps shining through her words, her family's memories, and the inspiration she left for all of us. Her story really leaves us with a question to think about. Is a legacy measured by the amount of time we have, or by the amount of purpose we pour into that time? Sana's life gives us a pretty clear and powerful answer.